my name's Rhonda from Nelson's Soapery. So today let's get into a video all about making some baby shower inspired soaps. So my daughter Emily is having a baby and she's having a Winnie the Pooh type baby shower theme, I guess, and what she's asked me to do is make some little soaps that look sort of like honeycomb or, you know, some sort of honey pot or something like that. So I've come up with a really cute mold. I did get the mold from My Dream Cake, so it's just a cake mold, and this is what it looks like. It's just got these little honeycombs, so they're very, very sweet and quite affordable. So we're going to get into the recipe. I'm going to be doing a 500 gram recipe today, and I will actually give you the recipe as well. I've got it to the side. It's my own recipe that I'll put in through Soap Calc. So I will actually pop it on there, and all of my Patreons, don't worry, I will actually go over to Patreon and pop the recipe in for you. Now let's get into the fun bit of making this soap. So in front of me here I have my container, and like I said, this is a 500 gram one. It's just a small one because we're just making some small little tiny soaps. So in here I have my melted butters, which is my cocoa butter and my shea butter that I use, which I get those from Deluxe Shea. And also in here I obviously have my olive oil, some rice bran oil, sweet almond oil, and a few others that are in my recipe. The rice bran will just add a little bit more of a lather to it as well. Obviously I have coconut in here. My coconut oil just helps the butter be a little bit harder. So this is not a baby soap as such, because this would be a bit harsh for a baby, but it's just going to smell like that beautiful baby soap, and then anybody can use it. So, and also when you're doing, you know, like baby shower things or wedding gifts or anything like that, please make sure that you still adhere to law by putting in all of, you know, the ingredients list on the back, the weights, anything else that you need to put on it. They still need to be on it, because whether you're selling it, giving it away, please make sure that you're putting in all of those things, because that is super important, because you don't want somebody to be allergic. So obviously I'm going to pop the camera down in a minute, put some glasses on, and obviously put on my gloves, and I have my stick blender and everything else that's cleaned. The only other thing we're going to be doing is using some titanium dioxide. You can even get this at cake shops now, as well as suppliers. And I'm going to add some titanium just to make it super white, because this particular fragrance here, it actually does discolor. So I'm using the smallest amount. All I'm going to use is what's in this lid here, which is only a few grams. So, and that's just to try and make sure that it's not going to discolor, because it does have lanolin in it, which means it will discolor. Anything with vanillin or lanolin or anything like that, they will discolor the soap. So, and we're trying to boycott that a little bit. It will go a slight color, but it will be fine. So anyway, let's get going. Now, before we start to mix, we are going to organize the titanium. So in here, I have some distilled water, just 1 tablespoon. And then in here, this is the titanium in here. Like I said, I did get this from a cake shop, so it is a food grade. It's water soluble. So all you're going to do is just add as much as you want into here, usually, you know, like a teaspoon or something like that. I'm just using the end of a very skinny popsicle stick. Mix it all in, and you can see it's going to be white. So we are going to be adding this into our oils as well, just to try and keep it a little bit white as well. And I'm just going to add a couple grams of the fragrance later on. So inside my container, and I am using this because I'm not doing a massive one, inside, like I said, I do already have my oil. So I'll tell you what we're going to be adding in. But let's start with the lye. So in here, I've already made up the lye. This is cooled down now because we want this at room temperature. So you really want this at like 25 degrees or less. Otherwise, it can just make everything work fast. Now, this is this recipe I'm using here is a vegan recipe as well. It has no animal byproducts at all. I don't use any of those. So in my lye here, the recipe, like I said, is a 500 gram recipe, and there is 130 grams of water. That's distilled water. You do need to use distilled. Tap water has other additives in it, so that's why we're going to use that. And then the lye is 69 0.69% of lye. I actually buy my lye from my local hardware store, and on the container it says for soap making. So make sure your sodium hydroxide that you're using, that is, when I talk about lye, that's sodium hydroxide with water. That's what we're going to be adding to it. But if you're on Patreon, do remember I will actually add a PDF over there for you with the full recipe and everything like that. So like I said, that is the first bit we're doing, and then inside here I already have my butters and my oils. So there is 40 grams of shea butter. I'm using unrefined, organic, certified A-grade shea butter. And then there is 20 grams of cocoa butter that is also certified A-grade, all from Deluxe Shea. And please remember that different shea butters will give different results. I used to use one that was much cheaper, and it used to make it really grainy. So, but this one from Deluxe Shea is really, really smooth. I don't get paid by them or anything to say that. It's just one that I super like. And then we're going to be adding in 265 grams of olive oil. I'm using a lighter olive oil just to try and keep the color light as well. And 120 grams of coconut oil. You can use an unscented coconut or scented. It really doesn't matter, does it? And then sweet almond oil, I've added in 40 grams of sweet almond, 15 grams of rice bran oil. And I also add in, just maybe about 1% of your recipe, so about 5 grams of a sodium lactate. Sorry, I had to think of what it was called. So sodium lactate, and all that is it's just a product, a clear product, and it actually helps everything come out of the silicone mold nice and easy. It just helps release it. You don't need that if you don't want, and all it is a salt derived product. So here already I do have everything ready to go, but we're going to set that aside. So now let's just pop in, like I said, the lye. We'll just pop that in and let's get mixing and make all this ready. So now, like I said, we've got the lye ready. So I'll just take out my spatula and pop that to the side. We are going to just pop in the lye in here. Always be really gentle and careful. Don't rush this bit. Make sure all the kids are out the way and pets are out the way. That way you're not going to be stressed about anything. And then, of course, I have the end of my stick blender. So let's just pop this in. I'll just move this aside. I'll pop that one in there. And I'm just going to get my blender that I need. And I keep my blender under the bench. That's why I had to go and grab it. And let me just move everything out the way. So, and we'll pop it in there. If you have one of these stick blenders that pulls apart, this is just a brawn. Always make sure you take away the top. That way it's not going to fall over, because I've actually knocked it over before, and then that's very tragical. So let's just mix this up. Now, did you see straight away how that actually went that creamy color? Obviously it's not ready. We need a little trace, and a trace means just little lines over the top. And I'll show you what that means for anyone that's new at soap making. So now that it's just getting a little creamy, let's just add in the titanium. As I said, take away the top part of the blender. I'm just going to pop in my titanium dioxide, as I said, to try and keep this just as light as I can keep it. And it will discolor a tiny bit, but not much with that. And can you see how it made it go lighter already? It won't stay this yellow colour. It will go a beautiful white colour, and I will actually show you that at the end. So now that I've got to that bit, let's just add in the fragrance. As I said, I've already pre-measured this before, because the end of this lid is only a few grams. It's about 3 grams actually. So I'm just going to add that tiny bit in there, because I did this the other day, because this is I've done a couple batches of this one now, because my daughter needs 40 of them. Now, if you can see, hopefully I can show you, when we sort of turn this around, we'll mix it a bit more and I'll show you, and it will leave tiny, tiny little lines on the top, and that's what a trace means. So when you take this out and you sort of drip it on the top, if there's little bits you can see like a little line, that's what's called the trace, and you know that it's come to trace. If you actually pour it before it gets to this stage and it has not fully been mixed in, it can actually separate and the oils can come out, and then it's no good. So hopefully you can see, because I know I've got not the best thing, and you can just see the tiny little bits speeding on the top of that. So anyway, we're going to take this out. Let's just clean off the blender here. And when you're washing up your blender, if you wash this the first day, what's actually going to happen is it's going to leave oil all over the sink. So I just let this dry a little bit, and then I just wash it the next day or 1 or 2 days after, and then the bubbles, you know, well, it will just sort of be soapy and bubbly rather than oily. So like I said, I'm not doing anything else but literally popping it into these molds. So I'm just going to make sure I give it a really good mix, pour it in here, and then by tomorrow this will be ready to take out of the mold. But as I said, I've already made some, so I will actually show you after we pour these, you know, what they look like. And they're so adorable, like really super cute. And this is the thing, everyone, too, when you're making something like this, like if you had kids around, they don't mean to, but, you know, they kind of bother you while you're trying to do it. And then, you know, you can mess it up, spill it. But, you know, if you're just doing this by yourself, without pets or kids around, then it's less likely you're going to make a mistake. So that's something that that's why I say, you know, soap making really is not for children. Sodium hydroxide is caustic, and, you know, if this went on your pet or your child, they would be burnt. So, you know, you just really need to kind of be careful as well. And please wear gloves. You know, people always talk about glasses, but gloves are so important, because if I got this on my hands, this would just burn my hand, and I've burnt my hand before, and it's not pretty. I'm going to be honest, it's not. It really does hurt. So this 500 grams looks like it should be pretty perfect. Once I get the last little drops out of here, it should be okay for this last little soap. This one may be a tiny bit smaller than the others, but that's okay. If you kind of get like that, you could steal some from one of the others, but we don't need to do that. If it was for a customer, you might need to just make a little bit bigger a batch, maybe 50 grams or something like that. But as I said, this is what we're going to do today. And look how gorgeous they are going to look. I mean, my daughter, I showed her the other ones I made, and she just loved them. She said, oh my goodness, Mum, they're so adorable. So she really loved them. Now to get the bubbles out, we just give it a tiny tap. That's why I put this silicone on a tray. Don't ever do the silicone without it being on a tray, because it's hard to move. Like if you think, oh, I need to move it, then you can't. So it's a bit tricky. So anyway, we have done that, and now I am going to go over and get the ones I've already pre-done so that I can show you as well. So here are the ones that I have finished. Don't they look cute? These have been sitting here only for a day, and they're just so adorable, and it's got like this hive kind of look. And as I said, she wanted them just white, so they're really beautiful. And as I said, they're just going to sit here until they're ready. These ones I think are about 35 grams each, so it's not a super big mold, but it's perfect just for a little gift, you know, that people might give away at a baby shower. So I hope you have really loved my little video today talking about how I've actually made these. And you could do the same if you wanted to do a baby recipe. So if I'm going to ever make baby soap, what I actually do with my baby soap is it's usually 75% of olive oil and 25% of shea butter. So sometimes I add 1 gram of cocoa butter, so change the shea to the cocoa. So, you know, that would mean 24 grams of shea, 1 gram of cocoa, and the rest olive oil. But that needs a good, 9 to 12 months to cure. So you do need that to leave that for some time. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed my little video. Look how darling they look. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye everyone.